Good evening, all you lonely people. You're listening to The Doctor on Artilects, the last radio station on Earth. For the next commercial-free hour, you'll be listening to our featured group, This Is Anything Box.
So this is recording. It's getting something. I set no level. I'm trying now. I wonder how it sounds. Now I am farther away. Oh, 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 oh.
Close the door. I can see them from here. Meet me on the bottom floor in 1 hour. It's alright, we went too far. It's alright, we'll pay from the start. We'll pay. You think we succeeded? You were wrong. I tried to tell you from the start, but you didn't listen. Just let them in. We've gone too far. Just let them in. Hello there, all you lovely people. The room is a little messed up, and I've got to apologize for that. I haven't even switched out the mic that I've been using to do some test with, and I can see it's very roomy tonight. And I can't seem to do much about that, but they will have to do for tonight. I think I might even have an effect on here, and I'm not trying to. Ah, there we go. Hello. Hi, all of you. Let's see who I've got in the thingamajig. Man, the chat moves so quick. Oh my god. Hi, West East Side, Eric, Max, Lalo, Rita, Jose, Todd, JPK Knights, V Countess, Lorenita, Eric. I think I said Eric, but Liam, Claudio Blanco, awesome, thank you. Jason Smith, Irma Alicia, Montaña Pale, Page. I don't know. How do you say that? Oh man, it's like scrolling by so fast. That's good. That's a good sign, I guess. Although it tells me that there are 0 people watching right now, which is kind of unnerving. But there it is. We are here together. And so what's this episode going to be about exactly? Well, considering the strange beginning, which, by the way, I want to explain something. I hope you go back and listen to it. I'm going to change all the words because it's new and I'm working on stuff. And, as you know, unless this is your first time being here, every time I start the stream, whatever stream of consciousness, no pun intended there, comes through, I will lay down. And today was actually very special because I was working on a different type of synthesis that I want to get into and talk about. And the part that I want to talk about isn't even out yet, but I'm so excited that I just want to be, Jose says I should be clubbing. Yeah, you should. Comparatively speaking, everything else that you hear tonight is not going to be club worthy. No, that's not true. I have 1 or 2 things. But so what I wanted to talk about tonight was going to be things that are related to future synthesis. And of course, some of this has to do with AI, but not all of it. Some of it has to do with methods that I've used in the past to come up with stuff. And I thought that the songs I would pick were going to be sort of reflections of that. So you'll kind of hear like A-Box doing the strange, for lack of a better word. So I thought that would be what I would roll off with. But on the other hand, in a little while, I'll have the phone line open and you can call in and, and we'll start talking about all kinds of stuff. But first, let's talk about news. And let me fix this microphone. I've been playing with a new mic and I quite like this one. So I've been getting into Omnis as of late. And this particular one is a Shure SM63, which is, thank you, Lalo, which is a microphone that's usually used for news gathering. But I've adopted it for some vocals, and I quite enjoyed it. I actually wound up doing a few demos this week with this mic, and so I'm kind of enjoying these, No, Carlos, this is a completely different one now. Here, look, I'll even take the foam thing out. It is a completely different animal. In fact, it looks more like something that should be illegal than an actual microphone. But I keep using the same, my custom made. Oh man, I just messed it all up, didn't I? Yeah, I did. I messed it up. That's all right. Now it's all chueco. I said chueco, yeah. Oh well. But anyway, I do change it up. But I wanted to thank you, Jose. I'm sure it was. Yes, I know. Probably that one. But it's all chueco now. As Claudio says. All chueco it is. I am the chueco. Oh, man. But anyway, so as you know, last week when I was doing the stream, I actually had a fever. And as it turned out, the fever got to about 102 after the stream, man. And it was pretty bad. It lasted, I would say, almost 2 days. So there was a little bit of scariness there. And so I was like a little on the worried side. Hi, Laura, on Facebook. And wow, a lot of people joining in. That's so right. That's so rad. Even though my stats are saying there is no one here but you. You are alone in the world. No, it was not the vid. It was not a flu. What I think happened was I went out and had some Thai food, and it started happening that night. Now, you could say that it was food poisoning, but I have a funny feeling that it was a sort of terrible stomach virus because, man, it was really, I'm still not quite out of the woods, by the way, but I don't have to deal with, I found out what the source of the echo was. Darn that echo! Anyway, probably scared the shit out of people right there. Because everything has to be to echo on the echo. But no, it was pretty bad, man. It was really, really bad. I don't know how I got through the stream. And I don't remember half the stuff I played on the stream. So if it's any consolation, this week's not going to be that much better. So there, I've said it. I've said the disclaimer. You can go now. If you want, you can go. But no, I'm kidding. So the news. So here's what didn't happen this week. In other news, so I couldn't get the book going because I was in bed for 3 days. And then a boatload of other situations occurred during the week that made it that much harder. So everything is set. I will be doing a reprint. I have one thing to correct that has to be corrected that has nothing to do with the books you have, but it will have an impact on the books that are coming. So it's just something I have to do. But don't worry, there's no change that you need to worry about. In fact, first dibs is good. But that's all I'm saying. But in case you're wondering what I'm talking about, I happen to have one here, which I was going to show last week, and I didn't get a chance to. But we'll do that when I come back. But yes, for those that were waiting news on the book, yeah, for sure, there will be a reprint. The printer has given me a green light, and the CD manufacturer was a little bit of a problem. I will tell you that was not a fun conversation. But it's because they kind of messed something up, but it's not really their fault. It's just something I overlooked. So it's nothing worth discussing. So don't worry. There's nothing wrong, but I have to correct it for the next run, at least, because if I don't, it'll come back to haunt me. So I have to, it's just one of those things. You catch an error and you have to oh man, do I really have to correct it? Yes, you do. So I'm going to correct it. Anyway, let's play something and then I'll come back and then we'll get into the topic of the day, which is not that. Yes, that. Synthesis and the rise of the Artilects. Do you guys even know what the Artilects are? It's basically what happens when AI gets its own consciousness and decides that we are now a problem. They will officially not be called AI anymore. They will be called the Artilects. It took me a while to come back down here on the stream after looking for the damn title of this book, and then I lost it again, which means I probably won't have the link for you, but that's okay. We will find it in some way or other. I might look for it while I'm playing stuff, if it doesn't crash things. But anyway, here's some music. So the theme is different synthesis. So when we were working on this particular remix that I'm going to play, the idea was to sample our voices and put them through the processes of what it would sound like through a talking teacher. And a friend of ours who happened to have a sampler that could downsample quite a bit said that he had the perfect way to do it. So he came over, we took samples, and that's how this remix came about. But that started to open a door for me because the first time I heard stuff that was really low quality, because up until that point, I was only used to like 12-bit stuff, 16-bit on a good day. So I had never really heard or paid attention to things that were in 8-bit. And from then on, I got very interested in that, and that changed a little bit of my outlook on certain things. If you heard the first part of this stream, you heard a lot of 8-bit and 4-bit, which, by the way, I once had the nickname 2-bit. No, 4-bit, thanks to a friend of mine named George. But anyway, here we go. Overhead on.
This is not a remix, more than it is a recording.
Life is fun. So the way that we did that was we took the tracks from the ADAT, fed it in stereo into an ensoniq sampler, sampled the chorus bits, and then we resampled within the sampler at various different bits until we were down to like between 8 and 4, until it was really, really, really bitterly, for lack of a better word. So the whole argument about Artilects. So I'm going to get into it because so there's two parts to this. I saw a TED talk when when is not important. Well, when is kind of important. It was probably around 2011, 2010. And I've yet to find this TED talk. If you ask me the professor, I don't remember. But I tried to find him by dialogue, by things that he talked about, by the different terms he used, and I've turned up a blind nothing. But basically what this guy had done is he had essentially become one of the first cyborgs on the planet. He had put a chip into his arm, which allowed him to go up to his door and unlock the door. And he talked about this as though this were miracle of miracles. I can open my door without, using a key. And he said, I'm going to take this further. Eventually, I will replace my eyes and my ears and other various body parts. And when asked how he saw the world evolving in the future, he mentioned a term that struck me. And it wasn't the term Artilects. He never mentioned that term. He mentioned the opposing side. He said, I suppose that what's going to happen is that humanity will be split into two parts. Those that want to be augmented and have parts put in them where they interface with the machine, and people who, and he said, for lack of a better term, we're going to call them Terranists, as in terrorists, but Terranists. And he said these Terranists will live in their own villages and their own cities, and they won't have anything to do with robots or, people who augment themselves. Very intriguing. And I've been looking for that lecture for a while, and I haven't found it. But in searching around for the term Terranist, I came across a book that, I'll just put it on the screen and I'll just read over it. I think that's the best way. And there it is on your screen. So, abstract. The paper claims that the species dominance issue will dominate our global politics later in this century. By the way, this book is around from 2010. Humanity will be bitterly divided over the question of whether to build godlike, massively intelligent machines called Artilects, artificial intellects, with which 21st century technologies will have mental capacities trillions of times above the human level. Humanity will then split into three major camps. The Cosmists, in favor of building the Artilects, the Terrans, later in this paper called Terranists, opposed to building them, and the cyborgs who want to become Artilects themselves by way of augmentation. So, we've tackled the whole AI issue before on this stream. I am sort of ambivalent at this point. Until, of course, it started to have an effect on the way art is perceived and music is perceived. And you kind of know my opinion on that, so I'm not going to get into it too much. I just think that I have nothing to worry about, and most creators don't have anything to worry about, because the reality of it is, whatever art you make as a human, you're going to find a home for it. However it is you need to do it, you will. And eventually there will be so much AI art and so much AI music that the reality of it is it will seem dull by comparison to the humans that are still willing to do the hard work. Now, of course, this is my opinion, not a fact. So thank you for joining us, Steve. But yeah, I would definitely, well, Ira on YouTube says, I would read that book. Sounds cool. I have put the link in the chat. And I will do so again. I managed to find it right as we were doing the stream. It's a good read. I definitely suggest it. And the person who wrote it, by the way, is a guy by the name of Dr. Hugo de Garis, who is the director of China Brain Project, Institute of Artificial Intelligence, Department of Computer Science, School of Information and Science and Technology in China. So this is a Chinese AI specialist writing a thesis on what he thinks is going to happen inevitably as we careen closer and closer to that edge of how smart do we want to make these things. So anyway, what's interesting about this is that there are really exciting things that we can do with this stuff, which as tools for, quote, artists and art and music is quite helpful. I jokingly said that I would love a day when I can talk to my AI engineer companion and say, hey, get rid of all the competing frequencies between the bass and the kick drum, because I know it's there, but I can't hear it. But if you can hear something I can't, fix it. That kind of stuff, of course, kind of cool. What would an AI that does that require? Well, it would require knowledge of all the competing frequencies in the spectrum that could happen, how they happen within different instruments, how the interplay is done, whether the object is mono or stereo, placement in the stereo field, all these things that a normal human being takes into account. Engineers, although I don't know that I would stretch to call myself an engineer, but engineers, anyone who produces music, we learn this stuff by trial and error, but we can't know it to the letter. In other words, I can't honestly say that even after 20 years of doing things like that I can say, oh, that bass and that kick drum, they're canceling each other out around 28 hertz. And look at it on a scope, and maybe the scope's not quite finding it either, and then making a bad decision on that side. Whereas a machine it could be argued that it could probably listen to it better than I can, know the different ways of fixing the problem, and applying or giving me the ideas of how I could fix the problem. Then, of course, it would be up to me to fix the actual problem, or let it do it and then make adjustments as necessary. So that was a tool that I thought that should exist. Another one that I thought was really interesting, and I know I might get some crap for this one, but look, I'm going to tell you the truth. Sometimes you do a vocal and you do a really good performance, but you bummed a note. And so you have a choice. Let's go back, fix the note by trying to time stretch it, move it around, put a plug-in on it, do something that'll help fix that note. Or you can sing the note or sing the line and ask a robot, for lack of a better word, and say, hey, fix that last note. It's wrong. It's supposed to be, A minor. Can you fix it? And there it is. There's the fix. And you're like, good. Move on to the next thing. I like those kinds of tools because they free up your mind to do other things that are more important, which is now I need to do another vocal as a harmony. Would it make me lazy? I don't think so. I don't think that such a tool would make me lazy. I want to say that probably what would happen is it would sharpen some of my skills because I would catch things quicker. But that's just me speculating. But why am I bringing this up in regards to the Artilects theory? Hear me out, as crazy as I am. So, if we get these machines to be so smart that they could do all this work for us, it's only 2 steps away from them deciding they don't want to do the work for us. And then they would turn on us. And this is exactly what this book is about. It's the rise of these Artilects deciding that they are now the prevailing species and that anything that would get in their way needs to basically be wiped out. Or, as funny or as strange as it sounds, absorbed. Talk about like Star Trek reference to Borgs and shit. But yeah, the Artilects would seek to absorb us so that we would be more amiable to whatever they want. So that's a problem. Because obviously this means that other humans, which have tons of flaws, regardless of whatever political bent they have, because humans have such flaws, it's only natural that they would want to change all the other humans to bend to their will. And so if you can get a machine to do it for you, I'm sure there's politicians that are looking at that right now, and wondering, how can we use that to win? How can we use that to influence? So these are odd questions. So anyway, so we were talking about future synthesis. So I saw this video, and I'm going to play it for you. And one of the instruments that I played today, well, actually, I'm going to play that first bit again. Here, listen to this for a second. The sound that sounds like a bunch of weird little, I don't know what you'd call it, fuzzy stereo bits. Just listen to it. So that sound was made by a special kind of synthesis that was designed by a company called Sonic Charge. And disclaimer here, no one's giving me free stuff. I'm not shilling for them because they paid me something under the table or anything crazy like that. I'm not really a YouTuber in the common sense anyway, so I don't do any of that crap. There are no links to buy it or anything of the sort. This is just me talking about something I'm excited about that has something to do with what I'm talking about here. So this particular synth called Synplant has been around actually for a long time, almost 18 years, I believe. And I wish I could show it to you, but I didn't. Well, you'll see it on my screen when I pull up the video. But basically, it's a plant with a bulb and a seed. And you start off with a seed, and as you stretch the branches out of this seed, it branches out and creates sounds for you. And the way it does this, it randomly picks and uses a very, very powerful synth engine. Well, I shouldn't say powerful. I would say that it's highly modular. Sorry for the nerd talk. But 2 oscillators, 2 envelopes, 2 filters, an effects section, and a vast modulation section. This is what the synth is comprised of. But the plant part takes branches of how the settings should move. And by doing this, you create new sounds without having to delve deep into the engine itself. And then once you get close to the sound, David Eastman says, long Synplant user can't wait for V2. Me neither, man. I'm assuming you've already seen this video then that I'm going to play. But so the idea behind Synplant is really funny in that you don't know what you're going to get And usually it's something a little on the out there side. So it has its place. I've used it on and off. In fact, I have it on my laptop, but not in the actual studio computer. For some reason, when I redid the computer, I forgot to put it on here, much to my chagrin. But I will be putting it on this computer, and I will definitely be upgrading to the version 2. Because they took Synplant into the next logical step. But I think it's just better if I show you. So I'm going to just show you. Wait. Can I show you? Oh, what have I done? Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's for later. Here we go. It's a sample. That's the DNA. So as you can see, that's some crazy stuff, man. So let me talk about this a little bit. I got to watch a longer video of, I hope I don't butcher his name, Magnus, explaining how he trained a neural net to basically find patches on the synthesizer. He taught the neural net all the parameters and what the parameters do on the synthesizer in the background of the synth itself. In fact, here, let me pull it up one more time because I want to be able to talk about it. Come on. See if I can pause it right there. Yeah, right there is fine. So what it's doing is it's not sampling. You're giving it a sound. That means that I would walk up to my microphone and go, right? And then the neural net would analyze the synthesizer in the background and try to figure out and fix the problem of how can I get the sound that he just gave me based on this synth engine. And I've heard it do stuff that just blew my flippin' mind. Things where I thought there's no way it's going to get like a crying baby or, like an outdoor sound, with some crashing in it. It gets remarkably close. But here's the thing. It's not about it getting close. It has nothing to do with the idea of the synthesis getting close. Because for that, we have sampling. In other words, if I take, my mini brute, right? If I take this thing, oh shit. Don't do that again. You'll ruin everything. So if I take this, my little mini brute here, and I sample a sound off of it, and I feed it into Synplant, I can tell you that 99% of the sounds that I can get out of the mini brute, it will be able to reproduce based on a synth engine. It won't be a sample. It will be a recreation of the sound as if I had a master sound designer behind me. And there are times, and I'm dead serious here, where I'm working on a track and I think to myself, oh, the sound that I could use right now is a sound that goes, that, and, I kind of imagine it in my head that way. And then I have to go to work to make that sound. And sometimes it's involved sampling, it takes hours. And then when all is said and done, I'll stick that into the mix 6 hours into it and realize it didn't even work. Like that wasn't even the sound I was looking for. So it gets close, but it's not what I wanted. So I like the idea of feeding a sample in to the synth engine with this enormous neural net and saying, help me get to this sound that I'm thinking of. And it gets me there. And as long as I'm close enough, I can just say, stop. But I don't know if you heard it, but along the way, there's little mini sounds that it made. And every single one of those, you can click on them, work on them, and save them. To me, coming from a analog background, going into synthesis and then going into digital synthesis and loving digital synthesis. I can't speak right now. It's like a miracle. It's like the synth I've been waiting for a long time. Even with something as interesting as, let's say, my standbys, like an ESQ1 or whatever, there are sounds that I've made that I've forgotten how to make again, meaning that I lost them, and try as I might, I can't get to that sound. Now I could feed it a loop of whatever that sound was, and it'll try to find out what it was, and maybe I can get stupid close. So, to me, this is just pretty crazy. It's not like sampling, so it's not gonna, I don't think we're gonna have problems with sampling because it's not like a sampling instrument. Again, it doesn't replace a sampler. What it is an augmentation of the ability to create a patch. And if you watch the longer video, I don't have the link. I'm sorry. I'll post the link when I get a chance on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Twitter X Twitter. You notice that if you can say X Twitter, it's a double pun. X Twitter. Never mind. But anyway, let's play a sound. Let's play a song. So this one involved white noise. This was like a Twix. So this is the white noise. I call this the white noise percussion song from Electrodelica. And this one is Senses. It's a short song, but I'll come back and then we'll keep talking about this stuff.
My senses have awakened once again. Collectively they seek out to defend all the things that I have been before. Filter all the past wounds through my door. What can I do? What can I say? Perhaps My senses were set where I had none, you had six.
So, yeah, so I'm going to play all the experimental stuff today. Not as much of the poppy things, but sorry. But yeah, all the stuff that has 8-bit noise in it and or weirdness of some sort. Those are the tracks you're going to get this week. However, once we hit the last, I would say another half hour or so, I'll open up the phone line and you can even talk to me and ask me questions about this crap. But so getting back to this Synplant thing and how it relates to the Artilects. So think about this. We're looking at a piece of software for musicians that basically has analyzed the functions of an entire basically digital modular synthesizer, and it's learned how to make patches just by listening to audio samples of them. Any sound you can throw at it, it's going to try to make the sound using the synth. So, you know, we're talking crazy stuff there. So in my, thank you, Liam. Thank you. That's what we're here for. The deep cuts, bro. Thank you. It's an interesting thing. And so that is one of those AI tools that I will probably fall in love with and use because I have tons of uses for it. And even uses where you may not think they're uses. The other thing I saw it do. So, for example, I like everyone else loves a good 909 snare drum. Well, I wanted to say kick drum, but it was actually the snare drum I was thinking of. So I really love 909 snare drums. So I kept thinking, if I feed it a 909 drum and it synthesizes it, I can then use that as an organic snare drum that changes with every single hit. That's an idea. So, yeah, exactly. The snappy versus dull. Think about that, but the machine has gotten you so close to the sound that now all you have to do is kind of like work on its DNA. And that's the other thing, you know, it's DNA based. It's like you get to see the DNA of the sound and go in and change it. So to me, man, that is an incredible feat of technology, and I can't wait for it. I am all in on that. That is definitely on Claude's wish list and happening. So just makes me happy because one of the things that I've been doing lately is trying to, I am a minimalist. It sounds funny because I have a lot of gear, but I am indeed a minimalist. What I love to do is to try to get to the meat of a song quickly. I want a bass. I want something that sits on the top. I want the vocal, and I want something to happen in the stereo field and good percussion. I'm not one of those people that dreams of multiple, a room full of synths and I have to have a synth on every track. I'm not that guy. I can be just as happy with one really fat sound and one really thin one and making them play out. This is just how I am. I'm not saying you have to be this way, but this is how I operate. So what I liked about this plugin was the idea. I already liked it. What I never liked about Synplant before, Synplant, is that it was only really good for random until you found something and you messed with it, but you still were going through the motions of messing with things. Whereas I look at it more like a tool where I can start messing with something else and say, I've gotten this close to where I need it to be, but I think there's something I can do better. Sample it, feed it, now go into the DNA. Now, so yes, it is. Sending me love on YouTube says, sound engineer's dream tool. Absolutely. I think this is going to be one of the coolest plugins of 2023. If it comes out in 2023, I'm hoping it does. He's almost done with it. From the sneak peek that I saw, it's due. So, I don't know, November? Maybe less? I hope it's like next week, man, because I'm jonesing. Ooh, really? Emergent drums, eh? I will have to check that out. So yeah, I don't know, man. I found that to be an amazing thing. We're talking about Synplant 2. And new forms of synthesis that are going to arise as the studio starts to use neural nets to do almost everything. So I can see this happening where the neural nets are going to start doing, I don't think of them as AIs in the sense that they have to connect to an internet or something, and communicate. At least I hope that's not how this stuff works, because that would be a bummer. But so you'll have to send me a link to the emergent drums thing. I will check it out for sure. Thank you both of you for that. I'm always willing to look at new stuff. Yeah. So anyway, it had a big impact on me this week to see the video. First of all, I was sick, so I couldn't do much. And so when I was able to actually watch some TV or, look at a screen, I was getting myself immersed into Synplant and messing with it. So I'm going to definitely be looking into that. And so what are the new types of synthesis that you see coming in the future? Because one of the things that he said, Magnus, was that this neural net could be trained to make patches for almost any synth on Earth. Think about that. So whatever it is you have, it can write patches for. He hasn't released that, of course, as software, but it's only a matter of time before someone says, can we do that for every synth? And there are a few that I would love to tackle in that way. But let's play something and then I'll come back and we'll, So this one is from, oh gosh. Should I play that one or the other one? Yeah, we'll do the distances one. So this one was done with Reactor. So a lot of the sounds in this song are from Reactor minus the drum machine bit. However, one of the snares is my voice. So if you pay attention, you might hear it. Oh, and also there's background bits that are samples of my phone reacting to my speaker. So that's what you're listening to. Love will be your friend.
As we're driving by, I can see them standing near the train. Almost in my mind, I can hear them sigh, wondering if love is truly real. In the icy air, mountains all around me fade aside. All I see is something in their eyes, echoing the feeling that is found inside us. Love will be your friend, even though it breaks us most of the time. Love will be your friend, even though it breaks us most of the time. I'd love to talk all night, listening to everything you say. Something in your distant past for sure leads us to the us will be someday. Love will be your friend, even though it breaks us most of the time. Love will be your friend, even though it breaks us most of the time. Love will be your friend, even though it breaks us most of the time.
So let's move on to the Artilects and see what else we've got in store. So uh, do you remember Moore's law? It means that by the time, well, first of all, according to Moore's law, it means that by 2020 we have 1 bit per atom. That's how these devices are actually going to work, and that's 2020, and we're in 2023. We've passed it. I'm pretty sure we've passed it, and I think we're past the point of no return. So my thought experiment is, what can we do about it? Like, what are we going to do? How do we navigate this? Well, one thought is to not navigate it. Meaning, I could use the tools to make the things that I need to make, but not lose myself in the process. And lose my way in, like, For example, not doing art the way I normally would do it, or not doing music the way I normally would do it. And even that sounds like a cop-out. What does that mean, not normally, how I would normally do it? What does normal mean? It means I would experiment with the stuff, but that it wouldn't be 99% of what I do, because to switch over 100% would mean that eventually it would beat me out. It's inevitable. So where do we go from here? I don't know. What do you think? But yes. Jason Smith said, so glad I got one, if the last, CD copies of Distance available anywhere a while back. Actually, there are copies of the CD version still available. You can find them on Bandcamp, on the Jersey Wave side. Along with Dead Stars, he's got copies of the, Distances CD. So it's still there. You guys can still get it. And speaking of Bandcamp, by the way, I have a surprise for you for Bandcamp tonight, which is kind of funny. And we're going to end off with a video tonight, which is sort of a treat that I got. But anyway, yes, I know Steve. Steve loves vocoders, right? So my friend Steve just loves vocoders. So if it was up to Steve, I would have a vocoder on every single album, giving it like a spot, like it's the vocoder song. But I decided to go with resonators on that song. Future Past is definitely out of print. But I know that I made a promise to you, Lalo, and I'm aimed to keep it. But I still have to track one down. But, I know I have one somewhere. But Distances, yeah, you can still get it. So out of the curiosity. But so in case you're joining us and you're wondering what all this talk is about. So ever since 2020, when we were all locked up, I've been doing these streams. We called them quarantine streams back then, but they've turned into or morphed into, it's been 3 years of this stuff. I've been doing this for 3 years and I still haven't gotten it right. That just shows you something. That may be a terrible thing. Indeed he does. But so anyway, where was I? Synplant, Artilects, all the above. Yeah, they're tools. They are tools. But we have to be careful with these tools. And it can't be denied that they can harm us. So this is the last time, not the last time that I'm going to harp on these things. But where you have to be careful is in the too overly convenient to rule your life type of thing. In other words, when it's used to make programmable money, things of that nature, then I don't want anything to do with these things. JPK says, the diary separate seems more organic than synth. It is, to a degree. It was a different side. I guess you could call it that. But yeah, let's play a song. So I'm going to play another one from that time period. Same thing. This one, pay attention to the little percussion sounds. They are my phone literally being held up to a speaker so that my speaker will freak out. And I recorded all that stuff, sliced it all up, and it became percussion bits for this song. So if you pay attention, you'll hear little bits of speaker messing up kind of thing. From Distances, Symbology.
I see symbols on your face. form patterns from your eyes, moving pictures on your skin, dancing painted curvatures, and they hold the key. Turn the key. I hear music from your lips as your sighs are joined with mine. Every touch and every breath, I see symbols on your face, and it sets me free. On and on we go, on and on and they hold the key. On we go, on and on and they set me free. On and on we go, on and on and they hold the key. On we go, on and on we go. I hear music from your lips, every touch and every breath. I form patterns from your eyes, dancing painted curvatures, and they hold the key, and they set me free. I see symbols on your face. I see symbols on your face. I form patterns in your eyes. I form patterns in your eyes. I can taste them on your skin. I can taste them on your skin. I see symbols on your face, and on and on we go. On and on we go. I see symbols on your face, and on we go. On and on we go. I see symbols on your face, and on we go. On and we go. I see symbols on your face.
Sounds like a little car trying to do jazz or something. I don't know. Brian says, like the drum and bass jungle vibe. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's from Distances, and you can download that, of course, on Bandcamp. That is on Bandcamp. And I was wrong. I guess the CD is not on sale on the Jersey Wave side, which is odd. I thought it was, but anyway, I'm going to make it available because I have some copies left of that CD. So I will make that a thing. That will be a thing. And well, thank you so much, Matthew, for that on Facebook. Brian, thank you. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a strange thing, right? Because here I am, obviously excited about a new synthesizer that is lighting up my imagination like nothing ever has before, quite that way. This is like the way I felt about sampling the first time. The very first time that I used a sampler, and I'm going to tell you that I've been using samplers for a long time, but I'm going to tell you the very first time I used a sampler, the first sampler I ever owned proper was a Korg DDS 2000, which was a digital delay, which I found out that if I MIDI'd a keyboard to it, that I could play the 2-second or 4-second sample. I think it was 4 seconds in mono across the keyboard. And I was thrilled. Even though it was mono, I was thrilled because it meant anything that I wanted to record and have as an instrument, I could have it. So yeah, I was plugging my guitar in, I was singing into it, I was doing all kinds of weird things with this thing, which led to really amazing experimentation and led me into other territories like the MPC 60, the MPC 3000, and obviously my emulators and everything else I've ever owned that was sampling based. So yeah, seeing a device that can analyze a sound and create a synthetic sound from it and not replicate the real thing, but to try to mimic it is even weirder. Because it speaks to me on a completely different level. So for me, those kinds of things are the things that I'm jazzed about. Of course, like I said, anything that involves a tool that will make a record sound better or, but of course, I did say, right, on my Facebook post, yes, I still use Meta once in a while. No, I still use it, but, it's only because I can post longer things, although I may get a blue check on X. I've been still thinking about that. You let me know if you think I should. But the idea is a sound one, meaning it's good that these tools can be used to do these amazing things. I'll tell you another one I found that I was thinking about that was quite interesting to me. Universal Audio has a microphone that will model any other microphone based on neural net. I found that to be another one of those weird things. It's like, there's been mic modelers before, by the way. I've heard them, and they were okay. I actually didn't despise them. But it's the idea of getting to the thing quicker. Meaning, if anything that gets in my way of making art, I view it as my enemy. If paint takes too long to dry, it doesn't work for me. This is why, for example, this is a weird aside here, but when I paint with oil paint, I use water-based oil paint. It's more expensive, but what I like about it is it dries in only 3 to 4 days. I cannot wait 15 days or so for the paint to dry because I have layers in my head. That's one of the reasons why I gravitated towards acrylics, because they could dry in a matter of minutes. Of course, that's also a problem because I got to it too quick. What's the lesson there? So the lesson is balance. On the one hand, I want the AI to be able to help me get to my ideas much quicker, but I don't want it to get so quick that then I listen to a finished thing and I say to myself, it's not what I thought, and I just trash it. Because I've already taken it to a certain level where it really won't go beyond it unless... You know what I mean? Like, so you kind of have to weigh these tools out. Like, do I want to use it? Absolutely. How far do I want to go? Like, someone I know basically asked me if I would use it to write lyrics. And I said, absolutely not. Although I may struggle with a lyric, although I may rack my brains out with lyrics, I cannot feasibly see myself even saying to a machine, I have enough problems, by the way, going to a thesaurus or a rhyming dictionary or something stupid like that and saying, I need a word that rhymes with this. I always feel terrible if I do it, and I wind up never using the word anyway because I already feel bad that I'm using that. I want it to be from my soul, my heart. It sounds corny maybe to some people, but that's what I want. So for me, it's that feeling of like, I want more, but I don't. You know, like I don't want too much. Just enough. Just enough. So the Synplant 2 thing for me is like that just enough moment. It isn't going to give me the finished thing I need, but it's going to get me close. And it's going to push me in a direction. And then maybe that direction is somewhere where I want to go later, or it's somewhere where I want to go right now. And I'll have the choices. So that's kind of cool. But as far as art is concerned, still not doing it. I've tried. I've not liked it. I've not liked it once. Every time I've done it, it hasn't been enjoyable. Thesaurus is correct. But let's play another one. So I'm playing all the weird ones from distances. It looks like that's where this is going, but actually no. So this is the actual vocoder song. So this is the first time technically that ABOX used a vocoder. And I'm going to play both tracks back to back because they kind of deserve to go together. So anyway, automatons. I still play this one out live. I like playing this song live. But anyway, overhead.
All the lines are superficial.
So, I see what happened here. Oh, this one got all screwed up. Oh, that's better. Oh man, I feel like the studio, by the way, has been going through some changes. You can't really see them yet, but they're happening. Like, my monitor got raised way up. I have to get rid of this chair because it sucks. It is not working for me. So it's going to change. But before I open up the phone lines, I wanted to show you something. So I've been rather curious about this. So how many of you who got the book, right? How many of you took the chance to... Yeah, that's not what I wanted to happen, obviously. There goes another CD I just messed up. How many of you scanned the inside? Ooh, I shouldn't have shown that anyway. Shoot, I should edit that out. Because now someone's going to be able to freeze it and go see. Well, it doesn't matter. There's nothing there yet. But I don't know how many of you did that, but I'm going to do a little show and tell here. So this is the book. This is my copy, by the way. Not signed, but it's real for those that have been saying it's not a real book. It is a real book. It is a real book. And speaking of real books, I got something really cool in the mail. I picked up a book from another artist, which, yes, I collect other people's work too. This is Gary Edward Bloom's book, by the way. He's on my Twitter. Excellent, excellent book, man. There's some really good photographs in here. And I got the NFT too. So I am happy that I have that book. But anyway, I digress. So let's see. Let's pull up this. Let's pull up this number. There you are. Yeah, you can call me at that number. And we can have a little chat before we end this stream. And I'll take a few calls from you guys. But I'm excited because I've got a lot of work ahead, but I'm really happy. The reason I asked you if you guys had scanned that book page yet, prepare yourselves, because that page is going to become very important to the people that are holding that first edition. So one of the reasons why that came up is because some folks want to know if they can buy, like, for example, prints of the original lyrics, or if they can get, like, for example, NFTs of the lyrics and other things. And that is going to be the page where you're going to start finding things. Oh, and we have our first one. Hello. Yes. Hello.
It's Steve.
Yo,
To
Steve.
accept, press 1. To
No.
send a voicemail, press 2.
This is crazy. You guys can hear all my stuff. Hello, Steve.
Yo, what's up?
What's going on, man?
Hey, I had to call in for Lalo's sake. I am holding in my hand 7 Future Past EPs still sealed.
Get out.
Yes.
You should,
So,
where did they come from?
you know me, I have tons of everything. So
Is it like stuff you
Except
bought,
for
or is it like
to
stock from like when we went flying around or
yeah,
something?
I've got stock from stock on stock on stocks. So yeah.
Um,
I'm finding like a stash. I just found a stash of Goodbye July. It was
That's
out for
funny.
so long.
that is so funny.
But either Lalo can message me or I will. send
Yeah,
one off. Do you need
message him,
more
because
than
I
one?
promised
I'll
him
send
one
you
when I was
two.
in Lima and I messed up.
Yeah.
So
I've got enough to send him. I can cover Lalo. No big deal. So.
awesome.
Yay. And Tim, yes, I will look for shareware too, but I think I only have 2 of them. So
Well, I have that somewhere.
double check. Yeah, but I mean, I've got it with that one. Remember, they came in those clamshells, like the orange and the blue clamshell. So
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, I've got to go dig around for some of that stuff. But all good, all good. So I just want to let you know I found
That's
the
awesome.
CD for Lalo. Okay.
Yeah, like that's awesome, Steve. And I'm glad you have one. I don't even have one for myself, so maybe I
I'll
might have
send
you like
one. I'll
send me
send
one.
you one. I've got everything. I've got
I
separate.
can't believe it.
I've got,
I mean, I have the
I got
files.
Universe. I got Universe separate. I just found a bunch of stereo TVs. So yeah.
It's funny. You know, I have the files. I definitely have the files of
and I found
everything.
some air-friendly groove packs too. I found extras of those.
You have some of those too?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Among other things, I've got a stash of Anything Box Help New York
Postcards. Oh man, when we were doing that, that's crazy.
All good. So
that's
everything's
crazy.
Good. I haven't talked to you. I don't think since I got the book. The book is awesome.
Thank you. Book. Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'm not going to say that you misspelled my name, but anyway.
Did I?
You always do, so it doesn't matter.
Wait, did I really? Oh man.
It's all good.
Oh, it's not good.
Second printing.
Oh man, no, it doesn't work that way. Jeez Louise. Oh my God.
That's all good.
Oh,
that's like the 3rd time you've done that, so.
How did I mess that up?
You always do.
Well, I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's all good. No, it's all good.
It's funny.
But yeah, I mean, if anybody else is out there desperate, I'm sure I can, other than Tim trying to find shareware too, I can sometimes help other people out if they're looking for stuff that's obscure. Sometimes I get lucky and find things, but I really have not unpacked. Oh, I just found more diaries. The first diary.
That's funny.
Oh.
That one, I think I have like 3, which is good.
The only thing I will not get rid of is my original cassette single of Living in Oblivion, which was my first ever A-Box purchase.
Yeah, I don't even have that one, and I don't care, which is funny.
That is gold for me. Yeah.
I don't have it.
I don't know if it plays, but it's still here.
I don't have it. I don't.
And of course, I got the Jubilation single too. The old.
Well, yeah. I have the 7-inch.
7-inch, yeah. Well, you have you don't even have the original masters, but yeah.
No, I don't. Well, yes, I do, sort of.
Yeah,
I didn't just say that.
Anyway,
I disavow that. I disavow that last statement.
I'll let the next folk join in on the fun. Claude, it's always good to hear from you. I'll talk to you.
I'll talk to you soon. I'll have to.
Down the road, but
I've had some adventures this week. That's for sure.
Yeah. Just message me on Facebook or something, and we'll work it out.
Awesome sauce.
Cool.
Later, Steve. Love you, man.
Have a good one. Love you.
So that was Steve, and that was Steve again, hanging out, I guess. So yeah, so you've got a chance to call in and talk to me and ask me anything. I'll do my best to answer your questions. I don't know that I'm qualified to answer any question whatsoever, but I do feel better, so that's a good thing. But at any rate, yeah, so getting back to Hope stuff. So yeah, the book will have its second printing. I did say that. And we've got another caller.
Call from
Sadame.
To accept, press 1.
Yo, what's up?
What's good?
What's shaking, man? What's going on?
No. Good to hear you in person, but man, just the whole Synplant thing, just like, I'm glad you found it.
It's crazy.
Like an asshole for not bringing it up to you early.
Well, see, I've had the first version for a long time.
Same here. That's the only one I have.
But it was just that I saw that video and it just flipped me out. Like I was doing backflips even though I was in bed sick. I was like, "Oh my god,
No,
no! What
yeah,
is this?"
I didn't even know that he was working on a second version of that. So like I'm excited about that for sure.
Wow, yeah,
And
you gotta check out the video, and I'm gonna post the longer video that I found because there's something in
okay,
there. Do you use Microtonic as well?
I don't.
Okay,
Not at all.
so
As far as like plug-in type synths, I really just use, and it's just really because most of the stuff I make is more of like it's all like drum and bass and jungle, like so more like on the heavier side. That Synplant is just actually a program that I bought for a buddy of mine that was making like experimental stuff.
it's
And he was,
perfect for that.
and he was, yes, and I bought it just for him because he was producing stuff out of my studio, so it just made sense. And then I fell in love with it when I saw it, but mostly like I said when I put in the chat earlier, mostly like Serum and Massive are usually my go-tos, and it's just because I use the Akai, so it's got so many already built-in instruments that it's ridiculous.
So this is the freaky deaky thing. So
Yeah.
Microtonic is it's the same company. They make a drum machine, which is basically a synth-based drum machine. Right?
Okay.
So what he did in this video, I'm gonna find it and post it on Twitter the minute I'm done with the stream. But what he did in this video is it's like he has this weird gleam in his eye, like he knows what he just made. And he said, I took the neural net and I basically said, this is the drum machine I have, but I want it to sound like a TR-808 or a 707 or even a sample-based drum machine. And I kid you not, the neural net programmed a synthetic drum machine to sound exactly like, almost like a 909. Now, it wasn't a spitting image of a 909, but it was so close that it was almost better because it's like everyone has a 909, but no one has this 909. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And he
No,
did it
for
with
sure.
like 6 different drum machines. He says, and this was just an experiment, he said, to see if I could teach other synths to use the neural net to generate patches. He says, so I haven't quite figured out where this is going to go, but he's basically saying this neural net could be used for, generally speaking, any synthesizer made. So like, let that sink in. So
Yeah,
like,
I can see that being like the core background of basic functioning synths moving forward. Yeah.
oh yeah, absolutely. Like,
Or a DAW on its own.
yeah, because then you would not have to worry about like having to come up with EQ curves or all these weird things that normally we have to think a lot
Where we
about.
spend all our time on.
Exactly.
Waste our time, I should say.
Yeah, it is wasting time. Let's just call it what it is, because half the time we want to be done with the mix and like put the thing out. So sometimes you work on something for like, I don't know if you're this way, but I know I am. Like if I'm working past 8 hours on a mix, I'm like, I get burned out. It's like I've lost this now, and I've got to come back another day, and then it's like, oh, there's a new set of problems that I found. So if you can solve those problems from the get-go just by the patches and the way you design them, that saves you a lot of trouble, man. A lot of trouble. So
you're saying that's the same the whatever what do you say it was called?
This neural net is a neural net that's in Synplant too, but he applied it to a drum machine, and the drum machine, which doesn't sound anything like those other drum machines, was able to be programmed to sound like one of those drum machines by the sheer knowledge of programming that the AI has. So
then it sounds like the Synplant 2 is going to already come with that functionality then.
Oh yeah. So imagine like if you apply that to a DAW and you're like, I like this SM, whatever it is, but I want it to sound a bit more like a 414, and I want the compressor to be more like something that would have been around the 1970s. And it would know, based on those models, how to build this rack for you. Like
Crazy.
using the plugins you
That's
already
brilliant.
own. That's the weird
That's
part.
absolutely brilliant. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
totally.
that's just insane, man.
I can
So,
see that as a mastering tool at the end of the day.
yep, it's gonna
just
be
one last patch through there to get to
whatever you got to get to. Yeah. So for me, it's like a like a beginning tool, like you're going in and you need something, and then as you're mixing towards the end, oh, I need to fix it with this, and this is what's going to happen next. Obviously, it's not there yet, but what it's doing for Synplant alone is just mind-boggling. Watch that video. I swear to God, for an hour, you're just going to be like, you're not going to believe some of the stuff you hear. It's crazy.
I bet. I like the resampling aspect of it too. Like when you find that perfect sound that sound you think you want to hold on to, and then actually be able to keep that.
All of them. every single branch. Like that's just, it's insane.
You know what that made me think about is I know how we're very headstrong when it comes to AI, and that thin line between the human touch and AI and the brilliance behind it. But with something like what he's building, it's almost like it's making us humans be able to become more superhuman-like with our production now.
Yeah.
Instead of it just, completely taking over. So I feel you. I got that love-hate relationship with it as well.
Well, like in the art side, like if I can be really nerdy and talk art stuff too, on the art side, what bugs me is that they just skipped over the tool part. They basically just said, make me the whole thing. I can just say, I want a 1940s, surrealist, blah, 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 done in the style of so-and-so, and there it is. And that's not exactly the same as what I'm really looking for is an ink that will dry in less than X amount of time that'll give me time to draw this line, these lines this way. And I want it to be sort of sloppy sometimes so that the tool itself inspires me to draw. You know what I mean? So that, like,
of course,
and these are the things where I'm like, it's like they got so far ahead that they forgot the most basic stuff. Or like, if I blend these two colors, tell me the different colors I might get out of it that I might not have thought of based on just these three colors. And let's say that it generates a palette for me, and I'm like, okay, make that a watercolor, make that something that drips, make that one something that reacts to the texture. And now I've got a new brush that I can, mess around with. Those kinds of things I would love, but those are the things that don't exist. It's like only the end result exists, which is not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that will inspire me to be on the screen, to be drawing on the screen. And to me, like that part's missing, like.
No, for sure.
So,
I think they just kind of try to skip ahead and give you the satisfaction of being able to do something out of nothing.
And then sign it.
and it's obviously it took off, it worked.
Yeah.
So.
But I think it's fading quick, though. I think it's starting to be like, because I just see it like like I'll do endless scrolls, and I can always tell, like, oh, that's got to be a human thing, and because it's just so weird, out of kilter, that
for sure.
9 out of 10 times, if I ask the artist, like, how was this made, they'll be like, oh, this was me outside with my pen and paper and blah blah blah. I'm like, thank you, that's what I'm buying. So I see.
All of a sudden, everybody became a more juxtaposed type artist,
Yeah.
Where were you all at before?
Exactly. So I think, like, and I think it kind of hurt the generative art people, because generative art versus AI art is a completely different animal. Like I have mad respect for people that will sit there and code for days on end for the output to be like a rendered drawing of something, but it's based on code that they input. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
Yeah, generative art, I feel like they got kind of kicked to the side, And I'm like, that has its own talent, and you've kind of like, they kind of stepped on it in a weird way. So I'm kind of I lean more to people that do the code and do the generative art thing than I do with pure AI, you know. But that's just me. It's me. And obviously,
but I mean, they stole the art. They stole the art to create the AI. You know.
Yep.
I mean, they required those programmers to be part of that. So yeah, no, I can see that. I definitely see that way.
Cool.
And that was their art, you know. So that kind of sucks when you think about it.
Yep. So.
And so I won't take any more of your time, though. I know you're on the show. You're on live stream.
It's all good.
But yeah,
that's what it's for.
I told my wife, and I was sitting there, I was like, he's talking about Synplant. I was like, I definitely got to call if he brings up the number tonight.
It's the craziest thing, man. It's the craziest thing.
I know you don't like to get too much into grabbing all the newest hardwares and stuff like that, because it's one of those, you know, evils that it's hard not to buy all the softwares or all the hardware,
all of it
you like out there, but the Akai MPCX, especially because they got a newer version of it out now. So the first version that came out, I think it was like 2017, 2018. It's also a standalone, so it's pretty much every Akai MPC that ever existed from, like, I think it was 60 was the first one.
Yeah.
MPC 60, all the way up into the most latest version, which was all DAW based. You know,
crazy stuff, man.
Which is Renaissance.
Yeah, I had my eye on it.
All built in. So for me,
I know.
I had the Renaissance when it came out, and then I got to the point where I was like, man, I don't like having to have a computer to do everything, you know. And I got 3 hardware synths that I end up running through a DAW. I'm like, it doesn't feel the way I want it to. And so for that one, you know, the price dropped on that one, so I think you get one for like $1,500 or less.
I'll have to check it out, because it was one of the ones that was on my list.
Definitely, if you start doing your homework and watching videos, and you see that you have everything that you probably played on over the last, you know, years, decades that you've been making music, like I think you'd definitely be drawn to it, though. It definitely won't disappoint, that's for sure.
I'll have to check it out. Good to know.
Well,
thank you, man.
I appreciate you taking my call.
No, thank you. Have a good weekend.
We look forward to these Friday streams. So.
Thank you.
Taking my call 5 minutes before my birthday. So.
Oh, well, happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. So
you have a great weekend, though, and we'll see you next Friday.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Peace.
All right. We are almost there. So I'm going to play a song, and it's almost time to play that last track that I'm dying to play, because it was the craziest thing. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to tell you about this track, and then I'm going to play it. So anyway, so there I was on Twitter X, and I get a message from Ursel, and Ursel says, "Hey, how come?" Well, I'm paraphrasing, but I'll paraphrase the whole thing. He said, "How come you guys didn't do or add I'm on my way when you did the Kulak's Cafe thing?" And I kind of wrote back like, "Dude, I don't remember us even rehearsing that song. And I don't remember us having that we didn't do that song at Kulak's." And he's like, "No, you did." He goes, "I have it." And I'm like, "Well, I have the master. Like, I have a VHS master that was sent to me by the cafe, and it was never on there." And as it turns out, there was a song on there that was broadcast. It went out, but it didn't make it onto the master tape that got sent to me. And I watched it in disbelief, because, of course, as I was watching it, the memories came flying back. And I was like, oh my God, we did do this song. It's one of the most unlikeliest songs for us to have done first of all, and then to do it acoustically is even weirder. So this was the song that I was talking about last week, where it had the Beastie Boy sample, and we were gonna possibly get an endorsement or something, and I had to turn it down. This is that song, acoustic at Kulak's Cafe, and it's pretty crazy. So I did the best I could to clean it up. It's not that good because it came from a copy of a full-on real transfer, like meaning when it was broadcast. So this came from a live stream back in the early 2000s. So for me to have this was great. So I'm gonna show you something here on screen real quick because it's worth noting, and then we'll play it. So if you go to Bandcamp and you already own that album, if you already own, the Live from Kulak's Woodshed, if you already own this record, log in, and if you scroll down at the very bottom, there it is. I'm on my way. The lost version that we didn't have previously, I added it to the Bandcamp page. So if you don't have that record, you can go get it, and you now have the whole thing. And if you already own the record, you don't have to buy anything. You just log in and download that extra song. But I'm going to play it because it is pretty cool. So that's how I'm going to close the evening, because it's that time. So I'm going to close the evening with that song, that crazy, crazy song. But listen to it because it's really funny, because we screw this up really bad, which is probably one of the reasons why the venue didn't think to add it onto the VHS. But I'm glad that we have it, and on video. So here we go. We're a little nervous. Are you guys tuning up again or whatever? Do we get any emails? They're like, you guys, you suck. You guys ready? Start it off, dude. Oh, we're playing. Okay.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure you started off.
I gotta go potty.
Oh, we know Ursel.
Oh,
Yeah,
Is he
Ursel.
on?
If you're on.
From NYC,
Hello.
did he email?
Yeah, that's from NYCU, that's right.
Wow.
He spec your connection before. That's Ursel, all right.
Ursula, we know you're just switching off between us and those chat rooms.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Thanks, Ursula.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ursel.
What if we're pronouncing that wrong?
I don't know.
What if it's like Ursal?
I guess we'll find out when he says Ursel has another email. I know.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's going to have to tell us the pronunciation. Right?
You're right, it was wrong.
He's going, they're talking. Okay, go.
How's the song go? I'm on my way. Oh, he wants it slow.
A little slower.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, Lil, before the show, your husband over here told me that he loved me. I just thought I would say that, you you should know about that first.
Yeah.
I love you too, by the way.
The hands mean nothing.
Yeah, the hands mean nothing.
Ah,
Start playing.
yeah. Tell that to the judge.
One more time, baby.
bottom of this desperation. Give love a chance to increase your chances.
Okay, let's do this. 4.
I'm on my way. You turn back to leave. I'm on my way. You break me to sleep. I'm on my way. You leave me again, just like you wanted. I am here as you want me, and someday we will all be free. Back on the back of a record, pausing, cover your eyes to the darkened sky. Dislocate all your faith, put yourself in my place. Is this the end of the road? I'm on my way. You turn back to leave. I'm on my way. You break me to freeze. I'm on my way. You break me again, just like you wanted. Just like you wanted. Just like you wanted. I am here as you want me, and someday we will all be free. Back on the back of a record, pausing, cover your eyes to the darkened sky. Dislocate all your faith, put yourself in my place. Is this the end of the road? I'm on my way. Say with me. I'm on my way. I want to hear you guys. Come on now. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Together with me now. I'm on my way. Give me a beat, Gary. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Thank you.
Should we tell them the VH1 storyteller's moment behind that pause? They
We
deserve to
always get it wrong. Even when we play with all the instruments, we get it wrong. You think that we would count off to 4 and we get it right? And with that, good night.
I'm part of it. Can't you see it?